All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to History of the W. It is our second show. Glad to have everybody back. We got a doozy of a show for you guys tonight. Right, Bunta? We got a heck
That's right.
Yeah. So, again, welcome to the show, History of the W. This is the show where we're going to talk about all of Widener's rich history from our football program, capture all those great stories that us former players and some of the other alumni will be able to bring to the table. Just again, a little bit of information about our lovely program at Widener. Our first year for the football program was in 1879. Our program has over 700 wins, which is very rare air for the NCAA football programs. We have 2 national championships, and we've had 20 conference championships, which is the MAC conference, since 1975. And for everybody listening, my name's Pete Garcia, and my co-host is the one and only
Bunta Kuntiroth.
Bunta Kuntiroth, my man. We're happy to have you guys today. Like I said, we have a heck of a show today. We have a hell of a guest. I'm happy to give him a little bit of an intro. For our listeners out there, this gentleman is a multiple-time Sports Information Director's All-American. He was a second-team All-American in 1993 and a first-team All-American in 1994. He's also a multiple-time Don Hanson's Football Gazette All-American. In 1993, he was honorable mention. In 1994, he was first team. Multiple-time All-Conference defensive lineman. He is second all-time in single-season sack record holder with 15 and a half sacks from the 1993 season. He's third all-time Widener sack leader with 36 total in his career, which I believe Bunta is incorrectly calculated, but we'll check with him. He's also
we'll
have to check, right? And he's also 1993 and 1994 Widener's most valuable defensive lineman. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the one and only O.J. McElroy. O.J., welcome to the show.
What's up, Pete and Bunta? What's going on? Glad you're doing this podcast. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to have you on. Pete and I, the last time we talked, and we want to bring everybody on here. So we thought, who better than OJ this time around? With all these great awards, these accomplishments, and we'd like to listen to a little bit more about you, OJ.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's flattering. I feel, I'd say I feel Al Bundy-ish, but we all did a heck of a lot better than Al Bundy ever did. We got some really great accomplishments under all our belts. We all did pretty well. And that one season we had was unforgettable, that 94 season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think if you didn't have too many people double teaming you probably could have got 50 sacks, I would say. But you were a beast out there, man. So
yeah, and what's funny is that you're right about that. Not that I really ever cared, but they recorded the total, the career sack record wrong. It wasn't 36; it was 38 and a half. I had freshman year. I started as an offensive guard, and because they needed somebody, they were real short on size, and even though I played defense, all through high school, I sacrificed my freshman year just because they said if you want to do it, you can start. So I was all over that, and. But yeah, sophomore year I had 10 sacks, and I think the junior year was 15 and a half, and my senior year was 13. And I remember a year or two later, looking at the record books, they had me at 36, and I think the record leader at the time was 37 and a half or 38. So if they had recorded it properly, I would have been number one. But I do know somebody beat the 38 and a half anyway, so I really didn't care after I found that out. So
yeah, the current all-time sack leader is a guy that we we all played with. I think I'm not sure, maybe you did or not, OJ, but I know Bunta and I did. It's Billy Norse, who went on to he went on to have 40 career sacks, and I think he actually signed with the New York Giants as well. So not too bad of a replacement
Yeah.
for leader, sack leader, but yeah, heck
Yeah,
of a
I
compliment.
bust his chops. We're Facebook friends, and I said to him, I said, yeah, but you started as a defensive end all 4 years, and he said, yeah, but he was injured most of one of his years, freshman or sophomore year, so that was his good comeback, which that makes sense. But I say to him, yeah, but if I started freshman year, I might have gotten over 40, but maybe not. So yeah, he's definitely the true leader. I'll give him that.
Yeah, you're definitely you're all in good company there, for sure, OJ, no doubt. But it's really
Yeah.
nice to look back on these times that we all spent together, and to see uh, the list that I rattled off a few minutes ago is quite long, quite illustrious. And you start
Yeah.
to think about everybody that you start playing with, and you know what? There was a hell of a lot of good players, and they were several of them were recognized
We were
justly, and you're definitely one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the same with you two guys. I mean, but we were stacked. We had one hell of a powerhouse team. I mean, both sides of the ball. We were doing some special things those years. I miss it. You know what? I don't know about you guys, but for so many years after college, I really, honest to God, I would wake up dreaming about playing football again and just trying to figure out a way to play a fifth year. I mean, I really, really missed it.
Yeah.
Swear to God.
I think about it too, OJ. I know, I know myself. I'm sure you guys too. Went right into the working world, and I didn't think too much about it. Like that there was a chance of doing something else, and I never really looked into it. I never dug into anything semi-pro or local or anything like that. And those outlets are there if you really want to find them. But I wish I did. It's definitely a regret of mine that I didn't try something else, even for a year or two. I know one of the guys that's involved with the Alumni Brotherhood is Dave Duffy, and I know he had speaking to him, he had a chance to play a little semi-pro ball after Widener, and he was getting paid like $1,000 a week to play for a team out of Brooklyn. So it was pretty neat. So
He was part of that championship team, right?
no, I think he was like late '80s, early '90s in that era. So no, he wasn't. But there, I'm sure some of those other guys, older guys, maybe had some chances. I know that the area that Widener was in, there were some other semi-pro teams like out of Marcus Hook and other places like that, but I don't know how long they lasted. I don't know if that
Yeah,
kind of died out.
I played semi-pro for one season afterwards too, but it didn't pay. It was only going to pay if you made the playoffs. I did get like 12 or 13 sacks that season, and they labeled me an all. I was the only one on that team. It was the New Jersey Panthers. I played for that team and got. I was the only one recognized for All-American for that team, and then I was thinking about going for the combines again, and I got injured again right after that season, hurt my back again, and then I just threw in the towel. It just didn't seem like the cards were ever, coming out of D3, it's such a long shot. I mean, Billy White shoes, there's way more of a chance to make it at that level when you're talking about just being a returner. He became obviously an all-pro returner, but if you're going to come out and be a lineman, you need to. It's funny when I went to the one tryout. I went to an All-Star game up in Cleveland right after that my senior year season in '94, and and you guys might remember that I had great leg strength. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember I used to squat the house. I used to love squatting. That's all I did when I was working out at Widener. But I never really focused on chest as much as I should have. And obviously, being a defensive end, you need to jam people off the line, jam the tight end. And when I put on the 3 plates, when I was doing 315, I was lucky if I had 2 or 3 reps. I was never top, the strength up top was not even close to the caliber you need to go to that next level, not even close. So when we were all, they were testing all of us to do the 2 1/4. How many times can you do 2 1/4? And there was a quarterback, coincidentally, that this is kind of a funny story. Like, we were all in line waiting to go. Right in front of me was this thin, black guy who was a quarterback, great shape. He was shredded, but thin. He wasn't that big, but he lays down on the bench. He puts up 225 18 times. And I'm telling you right now, and this is a quarterback. These are the guys that I leveled my whole career that I'm supposed to be way stronger than, and I did it less than 18. I think I did it 15 or 16 times, 2.25. It was an embarrassment. I mean, I wanted to just get in a bus or on a plane and just go home. So that spells it out right there.
You should have asked Ron DiMaria to borrow his chest and arms that day. He could do like 225, like 25 times.
Yeah, or Anthony Allen he would throw those.
Yeah. Was a strong guy. I think you had graduated, OJ, but when we were seniors, our kicker was named Jeff Noonan. And he was like a bodybuilder, and he and Danny Adamski and I went to high school with Jeff. He was a year behind us, and he was like, I think he did 225 like 20 times. He was the kicker. He was one of the strongest guys on the team at Widener in '95. It's just kind of funny, yeah. But he was like 5'7", and he was as wide as the refrigerator, But he was, But
what's funny is my squatting now. I remember when I used to do the squat, and that was my one pride and joy, and it was the one thing I was pretty good at. And I would do the leg presses with as many 45s as I could throw on there, like 12 or 1300. I always put my hands behind my head just so people weren't seeing me push my legs up to get it done. And I remember when we were getting tested by the coaches, and there was 2 sets of weights. They were offering people to do 2.25. And then the other one had the 3 plates and a 25. So what is that? 365. So when I used to do legs, which was like 3 times a week, like my whole junior and senior year, I would start with 3 plates to warm up. So I'd do 315 for like 20 reps. Then I would do 4 plates, then 5 plates, and then 6 plates, and then I would do 6 plates with a 25, which I think is like somewhere around 600 pounds. And I would get, I'd get like 2 or 3 reps out of that. But so when we had the 365, me and Anthony Allen went back and forth. He was just as strong in the legs as he was for his chest. Yeah. And I remember we both did 30-something reps. We were like tied at like 32, 33. And we both wanted to go again to outdo the other. And so, yeah, he was a monster. He was a strong dude. Have you seen him lately? He lost all the weight. He looks completely different.
No,
so does Danny Adamski for that reason. I mean, for that matter.
Yeah, Danny got into like running like 10Ks, and he was like coaching spinning classes and all this stuff, and he got into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just made contact with him. I forget how initially, but a couple of months ago. He's not on Facebook, but his wife is, so I'm friends with the wife to keep in touch with Danny. But yeah, he looks great. He's got 2 little kids, I think.
Yeah, he's got 2. He's got 2 little girls, 2 twin girls. I just saw him not too long ago. Maybe 8-9 months ago. I was down in Texas, and we hung out for the night. So I just and I spoke to him not too long ago. So he stays in touch.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's cool, man. But yeah, back in the day, the old gym and everybody. I remember those days. The first day of camp, especially running those 110s, and then. The next day going in there right away and doing the bench press and everything, and being all intense. Those days were pretty fun. Kind of stressful but fun at the same time. Some of the guys got to do the 225 on the bench press, but the O-lineman had to do 275, which was a little bit harder. But, we won't bring that up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. As tough as that sounds, I miss it. I don't care. I'd go through that pain for one more day of getting to go back in time, man. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hate it when you're there, but you miss it when it's gone. I know how you feel.
Yeah. And you said you wanted to talk about how I was there for the stadium and Coach Manlove too, right?
Yeah. So we definitely want to bring up some of those topics, right, Boone?
Yeah, definitely, because Pete and I didn't play for Manlove, so having you on here, we'll get firsthand experience. How was it? How was he as a coach? And
he was good.
Manlove versus Juan and Cubit.
Yeah. I'll give you my take on both of those guys, both those head coaches. Manlove, he was kind of hard to talk to directly. He was like in his own world. Then again, I was a freshman at the time, but I didn't really talk to him too much directly. Even though I was fortunate enough to be allowed to start as that offensive guard, but it's funny. I don't know if you guys remember me saying this a lot whenever we would play Del Val, the next 3 years, which were your first 3 years. But every time we played Del Val, I wanted to destroy them. For some reason, I built it up in my head that I was disrespected, as was everybody that was there, because Manlove never said goodbye to us. For some reason, that really bugged me. We were told one day, Coach Manlove's gone. And he never came in and gave us this speech or goodbye. I don't know, for some reason, and maybe I'm wrong, looking back, it's so long ago at this point, but at the time I remember thinking we didn't even get the respect of a goodbye, and as much as I loved him, that rubbed me the wrong way so badly that when I played Del Val, I wanted to play my best and just destroy them, especially when we played at Del Val. So that was that. But and then when I was a sophomore, when Coach Cubitt came in, and I told Coach Cubitt this when a couple of years ago, I reached out to him. We were BSing, and I've talked to him through Facebook a bunch of times. But I still remember the day he came, the first day when we're all remember we went to the auditorium and we were all getting hazed, and we went on the stage. And remember that?
Completely. Yeah. I don't want to. I'd love to forget what happened to me.
Yeah. I'm not even going to go there. Some of the stuff we had to do for the initiations, but embarrassing stuff. But I remember when Coach Cubitt came in and he stood up on the stage and he addressed all of us. We all sat in that auditorium, and now we're looking at our new head coach. And I think he said he came from Ohio, right? That's where I don't know if you remember that, but so. He went through this long, elaborate story of how hard it was for him to get. In retrospect, he might have made the whole thing up, but it sounded like it was an absolutely detailed, real story. But he went through this long, 10-minute story of how he got from Ohio, and this broke down and that broke down, but he went and rented a car, and then this happened, and he goes, and I just got here 5 minutes ago, and I made sure I was here on time, and he goes, and that, everybody, is called perseverance, and that was the word he used to push the whole time. That was, it's in my head my whole life from him, which is a great thing to have in the back of your head, is to just push forward and kind of win and beat life at any price. But he really pushed that, and I never forgot that. I told him about that story, and he remembered it. He's like, "Wow, I can't believe you remembered that story." But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, do you guys remember that? Because you would have been freshmen.
You have to remember something, OJ. For you were already there a year. And Boonta and I were walking in like, where am I at? Where am I? And I clearly remember the hazing. And I remember when they were hazing everybody, one guy refused to get up on stage. And,
I remember that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Big dude, a big
he was a quarterback. He was a quarterback. The guy I'm talking about was a quarterback. And I remember Mike Pitts turning around and saying, "What position are you?" And the guy says, "I'm quarterback." And he goes, "I'd get up on stage if I was you." Like
yeah.
And I don't remember. I don't remember anything after that. I just maybe I blocked it out. But I actually I had for a long time a similar feeling about Cubitt and our coaching staff when we graduated. When we finished our senior year. We got nothing. We got nothing. We were not told. After every season, we had a meeting with our position coaches. Everyone had an individual meeting with Cubitt, et cetera, and we didn't get. I thought we would get that. I thought we would get a thank you, something like first freshman class, the whole thing, and they were like, "Nah, sorry, we're going to go recruit." And I was like, "Wow, that's crappy." I felt like not a betrayal's a strong word, but like, wow, I got sent, I got put to the side that quickly. So but it is what it is. I mean, I'm sure that everyone has their reasons, but I did have a strong feeling about it. I'll put it that way.
You want to hear something? Another story that nobody probably knows.
That's why we're here.
Probably would.
That's why we're here.
He probably wouldn't remember the first part of this, even though you guys were all on the sidelines. But the following year, so let's say, the year after I would have graduated '95, which, by the way, I still had 12 credits. I had to go back, and I took 2 years off. I went back in '97, and then so I officially. My diploma actually says 97, even though I was supposed to be 95. And they wouldn't let me walk. You needed 8 credits or less to walk, so that really pissed me off. But and I was so upset about it, I took 2 years off. But anyway, so '96 I come back for the homecoming game, and I don't want to use the word big man on campus, but my senior year, all the senior football players, we were kind of treated pretty well on campus. And certainly the year after I graduated, everybody obviously on the team, other than the new freshmen, knew who I was. So I was allowed to be on the field. And real quick, I don't want to make it a long story, but so I'm on. A lot of the freshmen who obviously did not know me, they were coming up to me and going, "Oh my God, you're O.J. McElroy. I heard you did well, All-American, this and that." So it was kind of cool. They were like looking up to me, and. And this is during the game. It's not like it was halftime or, on a timeout or whatever. And Coach Cubitt starts coming down towards where I was standing on the sideline, and a lot of people were talking to me. And all of a sudden he comes right up to, he didn't look at me. He yelled at everyone that was talking to me. He goes, "Leave him alone. Do you want to win the game or do you want to waste time talking to him? He's done. He's graduated. Get your heads in the goddamn game." And let me tell you guys, I felt like a piece of crap. I was just, as you could imagine, I felt insulted. I felt like I earned the right for his respect at that point. I put a lot of sweat and tears in there for 4 years. So when I went home, I waited a couple of days to sleep on it and just figure out what I wanted to say. But I wound up calling him, and the secretary put me through to his voicemail. And I think maybe I purposely waited for like a day. I knew he wasn't there. And I remember I got his voicemail. And I left him. It wasn't even like me yelling and bitching and cursing. It was just more of like a guilt trip thing. Like, "Coach, I felt like such crap. I can't believe you did that. I bent over backwards for you. I thought you respected me. You made me feel like, 2 cents." And then I got to tell you, though, he called back like 2 hours later. It was like the same day. Coincidentally, he was in that day. Or maybe he just called in and got the voicemail or whatever. But he called back real soon, which shocked me. My father answered the phone and said, "It's your coach, Coach Cubitt." So I got on the phone, and he genuinely, from the heart, sounded like he wanted to cry. He's like, I'm so sorry. Come back anytime. I'll treat you like a VIP. I was just so in the moment. We were on the verge of not winning the game, and I hope you understand." And so it went from me hating him to me having the ultimate respect. So it was cool. It became pretty cool pretty quick. So.
Yeah, that's good. That takes a big man to do that. But I applaud you for calling him out. A lot of people wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep for a couple of days. I was so upset about it. Yeah,
I can understand.
Wow.
That.
Yeah, I mean, it was really a kick in the nuts. It's like, come on, like all of us guys, all the seniors. We should be. There's how many seniors are there? I mean, if you looked at our photo. When I was a senior, there was only like 9 or 10 of us tops. We took the front row, and then the whole rest of the team behind us. I'm visualizing that one picture from the '94 team, but
yeah.
We wore yellow pants. Everyone else behind us was in blue, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But there wasn't that many of us. So
yeah, I mean, if there was a dozen, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we were far off from that either, Boone. Right? Maybe a dozen or 15, maybe out of the 140, maybe that came in.
Yeah. I think it was I think anywhere no more than 15, and then I don't know how many of that graduated, in 4 years too. Right? So it was tough, man. I mean, it's not. Who said playing football and graduating on time? It's one easy thing, man. So. Yeah. Which brings me to this question, OJ. What brought you to Widener, man?
Widener was the first college that accepted me. So I was applying to all sorts of schools and a lot of D1 schools. But to be honest with you, I needed a 2.0 coming out of high school to be, NCAA rules at the time, Division I and II, you needed a 2.0 to play as a freshman, or else you'd have to redshirt. And I was on the border. Like, I was really screwing up my senior year in high school. And I said, you know what? It was like February, and Coach Taylor, who recruited me, and we were talking about this before you came on, Bunta, but Pete and I were talking about, remember Coach Taylor, that real big older guy?
He's the one that recruited me.
Yeah. Great guy. I love that guy. He was my favorite. Actually, Coach Zwan is my all-time favorite coach. Love that guy. He might not love me the way I loved him. Like, he had such an impact on my life. Like, he probably thinks about, how frustrated I made him, and, sometimes I wouldn't do everything he said or whatever, but I look back on him, and he's the closest thing I have to a second father. As short of, I only had a couple of years with him as a coach, but he was just, for some reason, I just always really looked up to Coach Swan. But anyway, so Coach Taylor recruited me, and they gave me an early admittance. And at the time, and my family has always had we have a couple bed and breakfasts. We have two of them actually now. And the one we were talking about, Pete, up in Wyndham, there's another one we have in Jersey, a 7-room bed and breakfast. So hospitality management was always something that I was interested in. And I don't know what they're ranked now, but Widener University was number 4 in the country for hotel restaurant management. Number 1 was University of Pennsylvania. I remember 2 was Cornell. I forget who 3 was, but we were number 4. And I remember thinking, you know what? At the time, Widener was one of the winningest teams in history for record-wise. Great football program, even though they were 1-9 or 2-8 the year before I was coming in. But they had such an incredible history for football that I would have been honored to be on that team. But they also were really, high on the list for the hotel restaurant. I said, you know what? Just in case, I'm going to commit. I'm going to go to Widener, and then if I want to transfer out and try to get into a D1 school football-wise, then I'll decide that after my first year at Widener. But obviously, I fell in love with Widener.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good story. It's funny how we, Bunta and I were comparing notes, how everyone comes from different areas. I mean, I didn't even think about it personally from, an academic, that in an in-depth way. I knew it was going to be a good school, but I didn't like look into a particular program. I know, Bunta, you had mentioned you were looking at the engineering program, but I was lost in the weeds. I just wanted to play football. I thought I'd figure it out, which I did eventually. But it's nice to hear you guys had the academics on the mind too, more so than, or just about as equally as anything else. So it's cool.
Yeah, definitely. It helped. It helped with the decision making at the time.
You know what was cool too is taking a program, being part of a program for those 4 years that went from a losing record, a pretty extreme losing record, to being what should have been 10-0. You guys know that, and I know that. We'll debate that to the end of time. We went 9-1, but that first game of the '94 season, we got beat 14-13 at Kane. And you remember why we should have been 10-0, right?
Vic's fault. You should never have thrown that ball.
Yeah.
Because one of the players, actually the guy I went against, the offensive tackle, was ineligible, and it turned out 1 or 2 more guys were discovered to have been ineligible. So if we wanted to contest it, it would have defaulted to us having that win if we wanted to go after it, but we let it go.
Yeah.
Because we still got in the playoffs, so they didn't make a big deal about it. But and what sucks is Kane is and Fairleigh Dickinson, but those are the 2 schools that are closest to my hometown here in Mountainside, New Jersey. And that was the one game the entire season I did not have a sack. And my whole family showed up. Everyone I ever knew showed up at Kane for the first game of my senior year. Not one goddamn sack, man. I was so pissed.
I know.
20 hurries, but not one sack.
I thought we were going to win that game. We came out strong. Defense was great,
Yep.
And we had that comfortable lead, and all of a sudden they just scored 2 quick touchdowns I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
You remember that?
Like that.
I can give you a little bit of detail on that game. I remember it pretty vividly. And just to give you guys a correct, it was 15-14 was the final score. But that was the first game of the season. I'm looking at the record book right now, and it was the first game of the season. First 2 drives, we go down, we plow down the field and score 2 touchdowns. We were on a massive roll. Third
was it 14-0?
14-0.
Yeah.
Third drive of the game, Jeff Bell blows out his knee and doesn't. I don't think he blew out his knee, but he hurt his knee, strained one of his knees, and he's out the rest of the game. And they stick a freshman in, and we pretty much struggle the rest of the game, even though we only lost 1 O-lineman. And then towards the end of the game, the game is it was either 14-7 or 14-8, whatever it was. We're driving, we're inside the 10-yard line, and that's when we're going to score, and Cubitt says to Vic, make a play. Yeah. Make something happen. And he throws the interception, 108-yard interception return for a touchdown, and I believe the highlight was on ESPN that night.
That's right. I forgot about that. Totally forgot about that.
And then the only other thing I remember is us trying to go to the locker room and Jimmy Clements screaming his head off at everybody, saying we lost the game and yelling at everybody and ruining his senior season and this and that and the other. So that's
crazy. Like we won every other game after that. We did so well after that. So 9-1. It was so close to a 10-0 season too. Crazy.
1 point away.
Yeah.
Literally
and then we went. We went to Dickinson for our first playoff game. Beat them 14-0, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. And they actually had a couple of touchdowns returned for penalty, actually too.
Oh, okay.
It probably would have been 28 or 35-0. Yeah.
I forget what quarter it was, but I remember we had one insane defensive stand. I don't know if you remember that, but they were like first. It was first and goal on like the 4 or the 5 yard line, and we held them all four attempts.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was I think it was early in the game. Actually, it was one of the first drives, I think. But that was a hell of a game. I remember personally that they were one of the top rushing teams in the country. They were averaging like almost 500 yards a game rushing because they never.
They were number one.
Yeah, and
they were number one.
They're the number one, and
yeah.
And I remember going, oh, man, how are we gonna take these guys on? And I never in the 4 years and the 43 games we played in those 4 years, I never beat the crap out of someone so easily than those guys. I actually had 2 or 3 times where I drove my guy out of the television screen.
And I'm going to throw another fact in here that, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, I think that they had gone undefeated for 50-something times straight, and we were the first person to shut them out. Yeah. I'm sorry, not undefeated, without being shut out. They hadn't gotten shut out in like 53 or 54 games. Do you remember that being?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having them end with that goose egg, they hadn't done that in like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had all these crazy records. I mean, it was like they were ranked number 2 in the nation.
Yeah.
And they were number 1 rushing offense in the nation. And it's like, we're going in there with a well-balanced offense, great defense. And anytime we play a team from the Centennial League, I always play, like you said, with perseverance. I always have like this revenge factor with the teams from F&M, Lebanon Valley, and Dickinson. When they came to recruit, they didn't even look at me. So I was like, you know what? If I get a chance to play these guys, I'm going to show these guys what I'm about. Same thing with the teams from like Susquehanna. It was that revenge factor in the back of my mind every time. I was like, man, only if I get a chance. Only if I get a chance. And it happened, right? I mean,
yeah. And I forget the little running back's name. I say little. I mean, he was probably strong as hell, but he was extremely short. Like I want to say like 5'5", 5'6". And I remember he was number 1, like as in like his shirt number was number 1. And do you remember his coach saying he was the number 1 running back in the nation when we played him? and we beat the hell out of Susquehanna. That was the '94 season too. We shut that guy down like he was nothing, and he was a really good runner.
Yeah. That game in particular, OJ, that was one of the hardest hitting games I'll ever say. I without a doubt the hardest hitting game I was ever in. I remember going back to, because that was at Quick Stadium. That was the only game we ever played them at Quick in my 4 years. We played them up to Susquehanna the other 3 times because they switched the conference right in the middle of everything. But I remember going back. Yeah, I remember going back to the dorms and like sitting in the shower for like an hour soaking. Like I was just such pain after that game. Yeah.
And by the way, that was my last home game ever. That was the last home game of the year, and so my last career game at Quick Stadium of that season, if you remember.
Yeah, that's the game that Vic Amy got hurt, and we had Brian Green came in for him and took us the rest of the season. So that was a good one. That was a tough game. Yeah.
And he got hurt going back to the playoffs. Dickinson we beat, so then we went to Wash and Jeff. And wasn't Vic? Didn't he get hurt in that game too? And was it Green?
He never played again. He never played that season again. He blew his knee out.
Oh, that's right. So it was Green that played, and then Green got hurt. Then, right?
I don't recall him getting hurt, but
no. Yeah,
we were winning going into the fourth quarter, but they were like on the 10-yard line. They scored 2 plays later in the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I could tell you. I could tell you there too, OJ. We were winning, and we had the ball inside our own 10-yard line, and we fumbled.
Oh, okay.
And they picked it up and went right in, and then they scored again, and that was it. It was over.
We had somebody important on the offense. I obviously thought it was the quarterback.
Yeah.
I thought they got injured like third or fourth quarter, and then that was. But I guess not.
No.
But yeah, we almost had him, man. We got on the ropes.
Yeah, that was an interesting time because that was really one of the first teams that we played in that era. almost 25 years ago, that really had 300-pound guys, like more than just 1 or 2. They had 5 or 6 of them, and they were all big guys. Our defensive line was big guys, and we barely had the ball from an offensive standpoint. I think we had the ball for about 19 minutes total in the entire game.
And we just couldn't run the ball, man.
We couldn't move the ball, and but I remember that week of practice. They were, the coaches, especially Coach Sama, the offensive line coach, talking about how big they were and their offensive or defensive line, et cetera, et cetera. But he ended the speech with, "But we're not changing anything. We feel confident. We're going to run our offense. We're not putting in anything new. We're not changing anything. No trick plays. We're going full steam ahead." And damn it, if it didn't work, I mean, we were moving the ball. We did put up some points, but we just. When we scored in a minute and a half. We didn't score in an 8-minute drive and give you guys a rest.
Right.
It was just lightning down the field, and that was it. And you guys were right back on for 40-something minutes, which is way too long for a defense to hold against 300-pound guys. And
the O linemen were pretty big dudes. I do remember that. Offense and defensive linemen, they were both monsters.
Yeah.
So
let's change gears quickly, OJ. Tell us, Boonta and I, what maybe one of your fond memories are from playing at Memorial Stadium, because again, that's another thing we have. We both got to play both the old field and the new field. So maybe you have a good memory from Memorial Stadium.
Well, not. I mean, again, offensive guard. There's not. I don't have too many memories. I have one memory that stands out, and it's going to seem maybe to you guys inconsequential and not that big a deal. But I remember there was a play, and I can't remember what team it was. I want to say Juniata, but maybe I'm wrong. But I remember I hit and leveled it was 4 people in a row. So I don't even know why I was so driven on this one play, but. And it was like a running play, and it went like in the other direction, wherever the hell. Like I was a right guard, it went to the left side, and I drove my guy like 5 feet back, and then I went back and wailed on the linebacker. Then I came around and bumped somebody else hard, And like as the whistle was blowing, I ran over to where our guy just got tackled, and I leveled the guy that was just standing there looking down, and I leveled him. So, and I remember I think it was Coach Sama, who played that back like 3 or 4 times in a row, on Monday film day. And he kept going, OJ, look at OJ, never stopped. He hit every person that was near him. And that was in Memorial Stadium right there by Old Main. I'll never forget that. That's the only play that sticks out in my head. But I remember the stadium itself, though, being gorgeous. In my opinion, I would have never moved it. It was one of the oldest stadiums in the country, if not the oldest. And it was right in like the heart of the, like it was the best chance to have a massive turnout when we did turn the season around. When we did start winning and having 500 plus seasons. I was like, why are you making everybody parade down and do a mile hike? We're going to have monster turnouts if we leave it in the middle of the campus. I never understood that, but for some reason it made sense.
Yeah, I had heard a couple of rumors in Bunta. I know you probably did too. Just that when that was happening and they were talking about planning a new stadium, Man Love was on his way out, and it was a kind of a rough time. But they had actually thought about OJ putting the stadium where the baseball field is at now, kind of on the old practice field, and having it having the back of it near right on 95, and be like almost like it'd be like a giant sign, like college football here kind of thing. But I don't know why that was squashed, but they ended up putting it down there. But the one thing that's cool, and maybe this is a little bit of a history lesson, and Coach Toohey told me this. Maybe I think this last season, Coach Toohey Vince Toohey's the long-standing track coach at Widener, and one of the guys who probably knows everyone, literally. He was telling me a story that that used to be a quarry where the stadium is, where Quick Stadium is now, and the stone that they took out of there is the stone that's lining the streets of a lot of the streets in Philadelphia now. Hundreds of years ago, then that was all brought out of there and brought to a boat and driven up river, and then down there where like Penn's Landing and all that stuff, all those cobblestone streets, that's from Quick Stadium.
I did not know that.
Yeah, cool. He was telling me that. It's a pretty cool story. But
speaking of Coach Toohey, I did the shot put for him, just like kind of half-assed. Went in there my senior year. I forget if they asked me or if I said I could do it because I used to do it in high school. And I wound up doing so well, just winging it. They said you got to. They started taking me on their, in the competitions, and I just kind of blew it off after a couple meets. A couple weeks, I said, I'm just not into it, even though I was doing pretty well with it. But that was kind of funny. I don't even know what the record was or what the best shot put guy was doing. But they said, let's just see what you can do without even anything. And they all stood around me while I did it. All I know is that all their eyes started bugging out. They couldn't believe what I did. I guess it was good, but they never told me. And they're like, you're now one of our shot putters. So, I did a few of the meets. It was funny. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's funny. I forgot about Coach Toohey.
Yeah, he's around a lot. I know Bunta. He was all over you too, right?
Yeah, he to this day he claims that he's the one that recruited me. So
what were you running the 40? Like 4.4 or under?
Well, yeah. So freshman year, I ran a 4.41, right?
Jeez.
So I was like, nobody knew about me, and when we ran the 40, and people were like, "Holy shit, who's this kid?" Like this Asian kid. Like, where the hell did he come from? And I was like, kept pretty low, right? Low pro. So I did like a 4.41, and then sophomore year, I did a 4.29 sophomore year, and
That's insane.
And then junior year, I did a 4.45. I was in a 4.4 range, and then senior year, I did a 4.37 senior year. So it was like in that range. But
that's That's
You know,
like 10. That's like 10 relay kind of range. That's really fast.
Yeah, like I mean, like I said, like I'm good with speed, for like 50, 60, 70 yards, but after that, man, like, I mean, running track in high school, like I could beat anybody out of the block.
You were like the Rocket Ishmael.
Yeah. But like people catch up to me after 80 yards, though. Like that's it, man. I'm only good for like 50 yards, man. To me, that's where.
We'll take a 50-yard pickup, so that's fine.
Yeah, you had plenty of them, Boone. That's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely a good time, man.
It was a pleasure, watching you guys work. Honest to God, I used to joke when I'd be out on the field and I'd see George and Anthony go. George Jones and Anthony Gossett were starting running backs, tailbacks, or whatever you want to call them when we were all playing. And I'd cut a linebacker or something and say, oh, there he goes. Look, check him out. Watch him go. It was such a pleasure to see you guys work. And it really made me, happy inside to see that happen. And it just, it was a pleasure. It was a real pleasure, guys, to play with you guys.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, every chance I get to watch defense play, standing on the sideline, like I never sat, man. I was like standing, trying to get every possible play, every image in my head, man. That's how I was,
I know for my own experiences, every game I'd leave the end of the game, my head would be absolutely pounding with a headache because I would scream so violently for the defensive line and things like that when I wasn't on the field. You could say, well, how about all the hitting you did, Pete? And yeah, sure, I'm sure that contributed a little bit to it, but it was absolutely because I was screaming so hard at everybody at all times to get your asses moving, and it was, what the hell? I mean, We
were into it, man.
Yeah.
You know what's cool about Widener and all D3 teams? Every single one that's there, they truly love the game. You look at a D1 or 2. Some of them, a lot of them maybe, are just doing it because they kind of have to. It's their ticket, it's the ticket to get the education. We're all there because we love the game, man. That's it.
Right.
And not one of us were playing it because of any other reason.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, that's for sure. I mean, a couple of years ago, one of the coaches had me come and talk to some recruits, and that's pretty much what I said. We're not, you guys are coming here. You're going to get a chance to get a great education. You're going to get a chance to play football. You can put those NFL dreams back in the back of your closet. You're going to be who you want to be. Where I'm at, in front of a group of people, recruiting in a suit. Talking about all the success you have at your work and your community, and being a gentleman when you get out of school. There's the rare chance that it happens. Guys get tryouts and things like that, and sometimes somebody sprinkle a little extra magic on you. But the majority of us are going to be at work come year 4, day 1, and that's what it's what it's all about. So you put your heart into it. You get to do something a little bit longer than most of other people get to do. I mean, only about 5% of all high school football players play in college across the board.
Oh yeah.
It's about somewhere between 5 and 6%. OJ, they end up playing in college. So you guys are just that jump alone it puts you in much more rare air. And like you said, you really want to do it, but most people don't stick it out. But we're fortunate to do it, and don't. You
want to know who sticks out in my head as one of the best competitors we ever played against? Do you know who I'm going to say? I'll say the school. See if you remember his name. Fairleigh Dickinson, and he was my age.
Oh.
Vic Moncado.
Yeah.
He played insane, and he got picked up by the Raiders. Actually, he played for the Raiders.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's another exception. Just you never know. Actually, you know what? When I came out senior year, along with a couple all-star games here and there, like I said, Cleveland and somewhere else, there was 2 tryouts, one for the Eagles and one for the Giants, and they were they were like for the D3 guys that would come in, like the long shotters. So, but actually there was some D1 and D2 guys there when I tried out at the Vet. Remember they had that white bubble next to the Vet back then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where we all tried out. And Ray Rhodes was the coach at the time. I don't know if you remember him, but and I remember trying out there, and I thought I crushed it. And I went against a guy. We were partnered up all day with the same guy. I had this guy from Lehigh. That's D2, I guess, or maybe it was 1AA or whatever it was. But I thought I beat this guy up pretty good all day. I thought I had the best of him. His name was Richie Owens, and he actually got picked up in like the 5th or 6th round of the draft. I remember watching him play because like the 1st or 2nd string DNs went down for whatever team he played against. And I remember watching him on TV the next year. I'm thinking, he was taller than me and he was faster than me in the 40, and he probably definitely had a better bench press than me. But I remember I did really well against him at the tryout. And then same with the Giants. You know, I was outclassed. It's just a level. I just was not qualified for that level. But it was fun. It was a fun run, though. You know, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, those are great memories, man. That again. I mean, you're in such a rare air there that I mean, at least you smell the same air that some of these guys might be able to live in.
Yeah.
I mean, Boonton and I got to sign the paperwork that said we were eligible to be drafted, and then on draft day nobody called. I think I spent draft day in the computer lab doing homework.
You want to hear something funny? The day or two after I came back from that Eagles tryout, I was roommates. I don't know if you remember. What it was called, Andorn by the library.
Yep.
My roommates was Pete Limbesis, who'd never played football, and Mike Tomasetti, who he wasn't playing at the time either. But I don't know if you remember those two guys. Mike Tomasetti faked a phone call, and that motherfucker. He said he was with the Eagles, and they wanted me to come back in, and they had me like high on the list of possible. And he let it go for like 2 or 3 hours. I was calling my parents, and then finally he's like, "Dude, I gotta tell you something. I'm not kidding. I had my hands around his neck. I wanted to kill this guy." It was not funny for like a week. I finally laughed like a week later, but man, I was pissed.
Oh.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. Great roommates too,
Yep.
man.
Yeah.
Talk about pulling the rug from underneath you, man. That's a rough one. Yeah.
That was a tough one. That was a jagged pill to swallow. I wish that was real, but it wasn't.
Speaking of rough, I got this one question for you, OJ. So going back to camp, how the hell did you survive going out like late at night, early in the morning, or coming back and making it to practice? I like to know
Oh my
that.
God! And Coach Woody, Coach Woody was the one, because he was the youngest. He was like a couple of years older than me. He was the one in charge of getting up at like 4:35 in the morning for anyone that screwed up, who got caught coming in past curfew, anything. He's the one that had to take us out to the stadium and run up and down the stadium steps for like a half hour straight as punishment. I was out there like every morning. That's why I was getting in great shape. He called me every time. I didn't even care. Danny Dempsey was I think he was my football roommate that second year, right? Well, yeah, when he was a freshman, I was a sophomore. And then, the next year, I could picture the kid's face. I can't think of his name. Another freshman when I was a junior. And the same thing. I snuck out the window every night, dude.
Yeah, hey OJ,
I remember his name, Gravely. It was spelled Gravely. He went by Gravely. I forget his first name. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I remember that.
A big dude. He was from Georgia.
Yeah, I don't think he hung around too long. He might have took the midnight train.
I think he did too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. OJ, I'm trying to think, man, back our freshman year when you were in the camp with Danny, weren't you dating that girl Jen?
Yeah, Jen Anderson.
Yeah, man, I grew up with her. That's how I remember that. That's right.
You know Jen Anderson? Yeah. I just saw her on Facebook. She looks like she's got a boyfriend. She's like in a bunch of pictures with some new guy. But we keep in touch. I say hello to her here and there.
Yeah, that's cool.
And yeah, we dated for like the first year and a half or 2 years of college.
Oh wow.
So yeah, a long time.
She was a cheerleader, right? Was she a cheerleader?
No, she didn't do cheerleading.
Yeah, wasn't she one of the sororities? She's probably in one of the sororities.
Yeah, she was D Phi E.
D-Phi-E, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. That's funny.
Yeah. You were in the Alpha Sig, right?
Both of us were, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You both were.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to hang out at Phi Delt quite a bit, and they seemed to always be hanging out with the D Phi E girls, so that's probably why I was at Phi Delt half the time.
You were smart.
Which I should have been at Alpha Sig, because that's where all the football guys were. There wasn't too many football guys at D Phi E.
But you were smarter to hang out where all the girls were. We were drunk.
Oh my God!
Boonta and I would be sitting on the back step of the house where the volleyball court was, staring at the Phi Mu girls.
Oh, dude, you guys had some good parties. It was funny. It seemed like Bobby Gibbons, who was also a great football player back in the day. He was always the one that was like running the door like security, because he was such a big dude. Remember, he did the military. He was the military thing too. I think he did, eh?
He was a big guy. He was a big tough guy too. He was I got a funny one with him.
He was a strong dude.
He was when Boonta and I were pledging the fraternity, we used to have to bounce the parties, and there was I was downstairs. There'd be guys at the door and wherever checking everything out. I'm walking the party downstairs, and I saw a fight break out, and I kind of go over to it, and I see a guy fighting with a brother, and he was the guy that was fighting was Walt Zeller, Boonta. And a guy was trying to swing on him. I turned this guy around, and I hit him dead in the mouth, and he went down like a house of bricks. And I picked him up by his belt, and I had someone open those basement doors that we had, those metal doors, and I drug him out, and I threw him into the volleyball court. And when he rolled over, his left arm was in a sling. He was fighting with one hand. Right. And so I picked him up. I felt bad.
Way to go, Pete.
So let me finish the story. I pick him up. The guy's bleeding out his mouth and everything. He's half knocked out. I start bringing him inside, and Bob Gibbons is there by the back door, and he starts trying to help me. And the guy tries to take a swing at Gibby, and Gibby knocked him out again. So we take him inside, and we pick him up again, take him inside, put him in the TV room. And, at our fraternity, OJ, we had a rule, like, if you took your shoes off, you could lay down anywhere in the whole house and no one would bother you. Because it was meant like you were going to go to sleep. And Boonta remembers this. And we laid him on the couch and left there with his shoes on. Somebody sprayed him with a fire extinguisher. And like, I checked on him, and he's sitting up on the couch. Half of him is like yellow dust, and the other half's normal, and he's coughing and everything, bleeding out of his mouth, and his arm in a sling. The guy had the worst night ever. Like,
who was this guy? Anybody know who he was?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I ever saw him again.
Just some random dude. That's funny.
Oh man, yeah. But the guy, I'm trying to help the guy up, and Gibby's trying to help him up too, and the guy takes a swing at Bob, and Bob just blasted him.
Wrong guy to swing at.
Yeah, seriously. Oh man.
Jimmy Clements was there too, and he was no slouch. He always reminded when UFC was getting big, which was pretty soon after I graduated college. Remember Tank Abbott? That's what Jimmy Clements reminded me of. Just like a tough, brawling kind of guy,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But he was Jimmy was a super tough guy but an absolute teddy bear. Like a total sweetheart, like super nice, like he was always and he has that baby face. Oh my God, man.
He was strong, man. He was like deceivingly strong.
Yeah, absolutely. A strong worker. He was always dedicated and a strong worker, but
that's true.
Not the most, not the fastest, not the biggest, not any of that stuff, but you could count on him consistently.
Yeah.
Absolutely every time.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
yeah.
Yep.
It was great. What a crew, man. What a crew. Sometimes I look back and I think of all the personalities and some of the spots were a little bit of a revolving door, but the core was so strong. It was really tough to beat.
We had something special, man. It was a good crew.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So OJ, talking about we talked about a little bit about Memorial. How about Quick Stadium? What'd you think when we moved down to Quick? Any good memories there?
Well, I got a lot of good memories, like some of my favorite plays and some of my best performances and stuff like that. I don't know if that's what you're asking for, but yeah, I mean, just having that new stadium. I remember, and the new locker room, and just being the first, part of the first team that ever was there. And we all knew that it's not like this is a stadium that's only going to be here for 3 or 4 or 10 years. This is something that's going to be here forever. We were there for the beginning, so it was kind of cool, like being part of that beginning crew. But I had a couple. I had a couple good games, home games there, that stuck out in my head, and I might have trouble remembering which teams they were against. I do remember it must have been whoever I was dating at the time. I was in a really bad mood from some breakup or something with the chick, and I just remember just being so angry, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just couldn't wait to get on the field. That was the beautiful thing about playing football, man. It was like legalized assault. You could do whatever the hell you wanted. You know what I mean? You're not getting taken away in handcuffs, so you can do whatever you want. And I swear to God, I remember this one game, and this was a game that I got an ECAC Player of the Week for this one, which was obviously it was a special award. They only gave it to one person for each position on the whole East Coast, the East Coast Athletic Conference. And I put out 3 quarterbacks in one game. And I had like 4 or 5 sacks in the one game. And I remember I put out the starter with probably the hardest hit I had in my whole 4-year career. The second guy I remember I took down, and I heard later I broke his collarbone. So it was just the way I took him down, which was a coincidence, I guess. Maybe that wasn't me. And I remember the third guy, too, went down and his thumb broke. So they had a 4th-string quarterback come into the 4th quarter. We were destroying them. But every single play, even, I was in on it, it seemed like. So, and I know this, I'm not doing the story any justice because I can't tell you what team it was. I should know that team. I can't think of what team we were playing, but that was one of my fondest memories. And then Susquehanna was, going back to that one again, and it was senior year. They gave it to that number 1, and he went up the middle. Well, he went up A or B gap right towards me, and it was like an option where the quarterback, he kept pretending to put it in his hands, and he would pull it back and do like a looping. He would loop around, and it was an option play, and it was like a 4th and 1, and I just remember he's definitely getting the ball. I remember thinking in my head before the play started, I'm going to hit this guy with everything I have if he comes in my gap. I don't care if he has the ball. They gave him the ball, and I hit him. The second I hit him, like his feet were off the ground, and I went straight back, and that single hit was my favorite hit of all time. And when I watched the replays, like the old tapes, when I get to that play, I'll watch it like 20 times in a row. Because it was just, it doesn't look like it's real time. It looks like it's fast forwarded. That's how hard I hit him. And that's how fast he goes from going one way to going backwards where I put him. And it looks like it's in fast forward, but everyone else is moving in normal speed. I love that play. It's so satisfying to watch.
I think that's Ron DiMaria's friend that you just laid out.
Oh, really?
Number 1. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You're right. He did tell me that.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. And actually, a kid I went to high school with, my senior year, I went to the public school in my town, but 3 years, and then my senior year I went to this private school in Madison, New Jersey called Bailey Ellert, and there was a guy, he was on my team, and he was one of the running backs there too. But he wasn't like really a starter. He wasn't all that great, but yeah, I remember leveling him a few times. And actually, there was a friend of mine. He was a year older than me. He was a tight end at the public school that I played for. And so he was a junior. He was a senior when I was a junior, and he was a tight end. So I went against him. So when we played he played for Moravian. So when we played against them, and he came in, I got a hell of a lot bigger and better than when we had played in high school. Obviously, we all did. So I just remember I'm not going to say his name because I still know the guy. We still have common friends. I see him around town. But yeah, I manhandled him and just threw him around. It was great. It was that's kind of satisfying. Like, hey, remember me? I've been hitting the gym a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the Susquehanna game again. For me in particular, that was one of the hardest, definitely the hardest hitting games that I could ever recall. And I was so glad that we finally won, because the 2 years prior, Boonta and I's freshman and sophomore year, where we played up at Susquehanna, we had lost both games, very tight games. They were a couple point difference. And,
I remember that. Yeah, you're right.
They were both real tough, and every time that we played. Boonta and I had played up at Susquehanna 3 times, and every single game was wet and cold. And towards the end of the season, freezing cold. I swear those games in particular are the reasons why I have issues with my hands, and like I feel like like even if it gets slightly cold out, my hands feel like they're frostbitten. But I couldn't wear gloves or anything like that. Back in the day, the gloves were terrible. So I
remember blocking a field goal attempt. And it was a really cold day, like close to the end of the season. Jumped up, like my pinky and half my hand got hit with the ball, and it made it so they missed the field goal, and I couldn't feel my hand the rest of the game, and like the whole bus ride home. It really messed me up.
That was our freshman year there, 92, your sophomore year. OJ, we were playing there, and I had dislocated my thumb, my left hand, and I was playing right tackle that year. I wasn't playing center, and my thumb went in between the bars on one of the guy's face mask, and it popped my thumb, and that was on second down, and I played third down with one hand, and then I ran, and we didn't get the first down, so I ran off the field right to AJ. He set my thumb again, and he started taping me up. Well, you guys got the ball back. You forced a fumble, and we got the ball back. I couldn't go in. They're taping me up. So they put more backups in, and they run a pass play, and the guy set for a pass, and the DN blew by him, and he turned around, and he tackled the guy by his jersey. Just pulled him down, and, total holding. I mean, it was as blatant as possible. Total holding.
Right.
Sama runs over and grabs me and just get back in there and throws me. I run out on the field with the roll of tape.
With one good hand.
Yeah, but the roll, AJ was still taping me up, and that roll of tape was hanging off my hand. I'm running out, ripping it off, and I turn around and throw the tape ball back so I can get in there and play.
That's awesome. That's a good story. So you just held it. Did you hold the tape for a play, or did you pull it off?
I remember, like, it wasn't even halfway done. I just ripped off what I had and just threw the tape onto the sidelines and got out there as fast as possible for the play. And after that series, I went back and he taped me upright. But just it's just those are the things I remember. Those little things, those little parts. I don't remember drives or things like that. Maybe I took too many blows to the head, but there's those little parts that I remember. Or if I get a chance to watch a game or one of the tapes or whatever, I do remember that. But it's just I love those little pieces that they get me going the most.
I got a question. Speaking of all the hits that we took, I'm sure you guys probably saw Concussion, that Will Smith movie. What do you think about all that CTE stuff? Do you think, because I've heard people say, like, even kids, like, at the grammar school and certainly high school level, could be prone to some sort of long-term injury. Who knows? But, these three are not. I mean, we were hitting people hard, man, for 4 years. So I don't know if I should be worried about it or not, but I'm blessed to have three girls. I don't have to worry about football, but I always wonder if I had boys, and I know, Pete, I know you have 2 boys, right, 2?
I got 3 boys, and Buta has 2, I believe, right, Moon?
3 and Boone has 2. Are you guys going to have your kids playing football, or are you worried about it, or no?
You want to go first there, Boone?
Yeah. So, I think I'm going to go the same path with them as, I did for me, which is probably start them late and let them choose from there to see if they like it, if they don't. But, I think right now I don't want them to, be too much involved with contact sports, just because I just want to be more preventative. Learn the. I want them to be able to learn how to play first. That's the thing. So.
How old are your boys again?
8 and 5. So
okay.
I didn't play football until I was 6th grade, dude. 7th grade, actually.
I
waited that long.
In high school.
Yeah. So, and then being the position that I played, right? I mean, I didn't get hit too much, but like you guys on the line, man. I mean, you guys are down there in the trenches. That's where all the heavy hitting and the running backs. Those are the positions I'd be more concerned about, man. I mean, very few times I got laid out, but getting hit, it wasn't the same hitting as like going up and tackling somebody or getting hit as like a running back, So
yeah,
it depends on the position, man.
I take a different stance. I mean, everyone has their opinion, and it's fine. My middle boy played football this year. He's 8. He played, when he was 7. He played tackle football, and it's like marshmallows bumping into each other at that age.
Yeah, at that age,
it's everyone's worried about it. This is not the first time, so I can give you my canned answer.
Sure.
Yeah, of course I think about it. Absolutely. It's not something that I can know is going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen to them. You can get any kind of disease or sickness or whatever and die at any moment. I mean, look at some of our friends that we played with that have passed, guys we know that are sick, from nothing related to any kind of sport. So I look at it like this. We were fortunate enough to play a little bit extra more than 95% of the rest of the world. So if my sons want to play, they can only do it for that very small, finite amount of time. I'm going to let them play. I can't let my fear or maybe medical science that they're still working on, and it absolutely does happen. I'm not going to deny it, but we can't worry about that. I try not to live with that fear. I mean, people, you could slip in the shower and die tomorrow morning, but so you might as well do what you want. And it's not something like booze or drugs or something, or cigarettes or whatever. I mean, it's a good thing. It's look at what the 3 of us had. We it's been 25 years since any of us have stepped on the field. We still talk. We still have camaraderie. We still have brotherhood. We've learned life lessons. So many other things you can attribute to football in particular, not just sports, but football in particular, that I think outweigh any chance that myself or my sons will potentially have a brain injury. So I don't think it's something that I worry about like that. I think the benefits outweigh the negatives.
Yeah, the goods outweigh the bads. I'm not going to disagree with you. You might be right.
Again, I don't want to preach it, but everyone does their thing. You guys, do what's right for you, what's right for your mind, what's right for your kids, whatever. Everyone has their own way. Take from it what you want. Criticize me all you want. I'm okay with it. I got to live with it. It's fine.
I mean, it certainly has a ton of positives that come along with it. That whole team sport, and there's a lot of life lessons you can learn by playing football and playing those sports. So.
Oh, absolutely. I use my life learned lessons playing sports, playing football, Widener. Yep. I use that in interviews all the time.
I do too. I bring that up, even though it's a long time ago. Every now and then, if I'm doing some sort of interview, I'll throw it in there just to show them that, to proudly display the competitive side of me, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You know, when they want examples about like teamwork and stuff. Yeah, I always throw that in there. Not only that, but like just kind of like when you talk about perseverance, you know, like give examples of like, you know, like a situation, like, and I always bring it up because I always bring up like how we went from, you know, 3-6-1, 6-4, to like, you know, 9-1, and then 8-3, whatever, and it's just like, you know, winning, right? I mean, you want to develop winning teams. I always bring the football in there, and they're like appalled by like the story, you know. So.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My oldest daughter's team wasn't that great this past year. She plays. This is softball now I'm talking about. My kids play softball and basketball. Well, they ski and they do some other things too. But all three of them love softball. And my oldest one, who was on the older team, they lost most of the game this year, and she was upset about it. She would, you know, come home and almost be on the verge of tears because she's competitive. She wants to win. And I've told her more than once about my journey with Widener, going from, you know, like a 2-8 to a 9-1, and that to me was way more special than if I came in and we were, you know, 9-1, and then my senior year we were 9-1. You know, that's not as fun. It's not as you know, there's not as much to be proud of. You know, building something from nothing and making it into something special, that's way more fun. It's way more, you know, challenging. I mean, so not to mention, and not to make it about one person and making it about them, but I try to tell her, like, listen, you know, as long as you're doing well and you're having fun, especially at their age, my kids are 11, 10, and almost 9, like, it's about having fun and learning at this point. Don't worry about the W's and the L's. You know, like, look, that comes later. You know, you want to get competitive and go for, like, an undefeated season, great. But right now, I'm thinking, who cares what the record is? You're trying to learn right now. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think that 94 season, we definitely had a lot of fun. I mean, I don't remember one game that we didn't have fun, you know. So that was so memorable.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the turnaround was really fun to look back on. It was really fun to look back on. You know, to leave the old stadium with a win and to go into Quick, and you know, we started with 10 straight wins at Quick, which was great, and it just.
Is that right? I don't remember that.
So right. your senior year we were 5-0 at Quick, and our senior year we were 5-0 at Quick. So
I did not know that. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I think in the year after, I think they had a couple more wins, and I think it was maybe 10 or 12 straight wins at Quick. It was wow. You know, it was great to be that. It definitely was a turnaround, you know, a new era, you know, a new foundation, I guess, you know, for what happened, what's happening today there. You know, I don't know how much you're still following things, OJ. Are you following? Have you been following the team that much on last
season? Yeah, I mean, not as much as I should, but yeah, I check in on it a couple times a season, that's for sure. Yeah. I'm following it, and I keep saying I'm going to get there more than I do, and just life gets in the way, but I guess you're closer to a hell of a lot easier for you being, you know, 10, 15 minutes away to get over to more games, but you and your dad still go there a lot, Pete?
I get there. Well, I usually go to all the home games. My dad is my mom. They live in Florida, so they don't get up as much. My dad watches all the games. I mean, they broadcast them through the internet, so he does watch all the games still, which is you know, great to see. I mean, he still follows it, but yeah, I go to all the home games. And we try to do the tailgate. So, yeah.
I get to a lot of them, not all of them. Yeah. You know, but you know, like I said, I'm pretty close by, so I try to bring my kids there. They love to go there, and you know, they want to go out in the field after the games and you know, run around. But more so, just you know, getting them more involved and seeing what the program is about, and you know, trying to get them more involved, you know, with that.
I got a question for both of you guys. How did you feel about the Super Bowl? How special was that for you guys?
Very nice. Well, it was very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like,
You guys both went to the parade?
Yeah, went to the parade. I went out the night that we won. Went right out on Broad Street because I live a block off Broad Street, so went to celebrate with every South Philly fan. What's that?
You're not the one that ate the horse poop, right?
No. That
was
gross, man. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely not a true Philly fan. You don't eat horse shit, man. You gotta eat something else.
I wish I was there, man. People don't realize. They don't understand when I tell them I love the Giants and I love the Eagles. Those are my two favorite teams. And everyone looks at me up here in North Jersey like, dude, you can't like those two teams. It's one or the other. Like, nope. 4 years of being a Philly, man, it embedded in my head. I'll never get it out of my head now. I love them.
Yeah, that was pretty special, man. It was great. I mean, all the kids stayed up and to watch it, and it was quite a sight, man. What a great game, and it was just fine. Too long coming, but
yeah,
glad it finally happened.
Yeah, about time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the game itself was fun to watch too. It was a great game to watch, and just kept you on your toes, and then watching, all these calls that Peterson made, and just I don't know. I mean, that team was just like special, just like ours. Like our '94 season. I mean, they came out and kept swinging. So
perseverance, man. Like I said in the beginning, it was Cubitt's word, and it just kind of stuck with me the whole time. I thought that's like my favorite word. I tell my kids that word all the time.
Yeah, it definitely hits home. It definitely hits home, and you were a big reason why we were able to persevere so much. It was again, it was a real pleasure to watch you guys work. And
I tell my kids, failure isn't failure unless you don't try again, which is basically what perseverance is.
That's right.
But yeah, that was a good time, man. We had a hell of a fun time playing football together, man. I really miss it.
Yeah, I know my back and my knees don't, but yeah, my brain definitely does.
My brain is still detached from my skull.
Yeah.
So all the hits.
Yeah, my back and knee, it's taking a beating, but it's
Yeah.
I just can't imagine what I would be like at 70, like, if I'm struggling now.
My shoulders have literally just started, just 2-3 months ago, starting to really give me pain. So it's definitely from football, but it just finally caught up with me.
Yeah.
It's funny you mention that, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure we could all list out all the injuries and all the reasons you used to go to the training rooms and whatever else, and living and dying off of tape and flex all 454 and ice bags and stuff like that. And that's
oh yeah, I was no stranger to AJ, man. That's for sure.
That's for sure is right. Oh man!
Yeah.
Well, thank God none of us. I know I didn't know anything about painkillers or anything of that stuff back then.
Yeah, God, right?
I've been eating them things like Tic Tacs. But all I could do is after a game, we'd go back to the dorm or whatever, and crack a beer and sit in the tub or something like that for a while. I mean, I know that was one of the rituals,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to get the beast, Natty Light.
That's right.
That and the Mad Dog 2020.
Oh man.
Absolutely. Yeah, too much of that, man. Too much of that. That's for sure. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So how often are you going to be doing these podcasts? Once a week?
We're I don't know. We've done 2. This is our second one, like I said earlier, and we were trying to do them maybe once every 2 weeks or so, the schedule permitting. I know we could get quite a few people on, and it was great. It was great having you on, OJ. You're doing a great job, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I know we have a lot of people that would be interested. I think we're going to try to get maybe Joe Weisinger on as one of the next guests.
That'd be great,
take it
man.
from there. I know we'd like to start reaching out to some guys that maybe outside of our era too, get some of their perspective, even before and as I said before, unfortunately, there's many years after that we could pick from too. So, try to get a couple of these in the can and see how it goes, and then really start opening it up and sharing these more. So maybe once every 2 weeks or so, I think we're going to record.
Dude, it's so fun reminiscing, man. I really, really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, we definitely like to hear straight from our teammates, what their perspective, their playing career, and then also just listening. I mean, because, P and I, we talk about this all the time, and it's like we can go on and on and on. I mean, even though we only played 4 years, but it's like, dude, we can probably talk hours and hours. It's just so much memory, Oh,
there's so much. We can go on forever if we want to.
And the one thing too, one main point to this is that, you have a perspective, OJ, and then you were there, and so was I, and so was Bunta, but you were standing over here, and I was standing over here, and he was over there, and you all heard something maybe a little bit different or saw something different, and then we'll go, well, wait a minute, is that really what happened? Because I was right over there, and we didn't. All these different perspectives, even though we were all so close, and playing, but we were all on different sides of the ball, and so many things happen in that, especially in the interior line that, Bunta wouldn't have been a part of. And then I didn't see happen downfield. And then you didn't see because you were getting yelled at by Zwan on the sidelines or something. So, it's great to kind of, put those puzzle pieces all together.
Yeah. Everyone's going to have different memories of a lot of the same things, man. It's going to be fun to hear that.
Absolutely. That's the hope, to capture all these stories and not lose them, We were talking earlier. I mean, I had written down so many ideas and stories that I would, like to touch on eventually, through the series if we can keep going. And I don't know if I'll ever run out of material. I mean, there's so many funny moments, I mean, not even talking about anything that happened during practice or games. There's so many locker room stories, meeting room stories, stuff that happened in the cafeteria at camp. Just crazy stuff and stupid stuff, funny stories. Just I can't wait until and Bunta and I were talking about maybe trying to get like Jim Wark on or. Adam Barton, some of those guys who are real comedians, total clowns, and just
Work was a funny dude.
Yeah, it should be fun.
I remember he kicked the field goal. It was his only attempt ever. He was a quarterback, right? Yeah, right. He did quarterbacking for a little bit, but I remember he kicked the field goal.
I think he was a running back a little bit too, and I think they all moonlit as like receivers and running backs and scout team guys and stuff like that. Yeah.
But his funny line that I remember he used to say quite a bit. And he was a year older than me, I think. So I remember up in Memorial Stadium. So I was probably a freshman. He was maybe a sophomore, junior, whatever he was. He kicked the field goal, and that was it. And he never did field goal again. And I remember he used to always tell people, "I'm the only one in the country that has 1,000. I'm batting 1,000 in the field goal department. Nobody can ever say that ever. I have 1,000 record for field goals." That was his claim to fame.
And another funny thing about Jim was that, or not Jim. Who was it? What was the guy's name that was the barefoot kicker? Wasn't it Pink Floyd? That was the barefoot kicker?
Oh, yeah.
Like when's the last time you seen a guy kick with barefoot?
I know. I forgot about him.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's good.
Good time.
Oh, so I don't know, man. It's just some good stories there, man. It's been great talking to you, brother. It's been great talking to you.
My pleasure, man.
So yeah, we got to figure out a way to get some more guys to come to some of the games and just keep the crew going and keep the program alive and well and keep the brotherhood strong and we'll keep doing these and we'll probably have you on again at another point. But
that'd be great, and it would be cool too getting it to the point where you're doing maybe even podcasts and broadcasting it from the games. I don't know. I'm just envisioning this could get bigger and better. And do it some sort of live stream on the computers where we can watch like a game while you're talking about it too, and do the podcast.
That's a great idea.
These are good ideas, right, Boone? We gotta see if we can flesh these babies out.
Oh,
yeah, because now you'll get everybody, but certainly everyone from our era would be watching it through your eyes, because you're going to be looking at it and talking about it through the same ways that we'd be looking at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, we'll have to think about that one, Pete. That's good, man.
Yeah, I don't know. As long as I can have a beer while we're watching it, that would be.
No rule against that.
Yeah, right. I hope not. Oh man, good. Well, I think we should probably wrap it up here, guys.
Thanks, fellas.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, OJ. You're always welcome on our show here as a guest, and we'll have you on again. And again, thanks for all the memories. Thanks for all your time and all the great stories.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. It was a good time, and we'll talk again soon. I don't want to ever take up too much more of the time, the hours on your show here on this podcast, but I wouldn't mind talking to you guys off air, just because there's like a million other stories we could go into. But I'll have to catch up with you soon, either on the phone or at one of the next games, and keep talking, because we got so many more stories to talk about.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love to make it up to Wyndham as well, man. Hang out.
Yeah, you got to come back up. I didn't see with you last time.
I know. Busy last time.
I was telling Pete about it. You got to tell Pete. It's a good spot. It's real close to the mountains, comfortable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, trout fishing's coming up too, man. So.
There's a lot to do. Outside of DC. So just let me know. You guys are welcome anytime.
That's what we should do, Boone. We should get up there, man, with the boys and do some fishing.
Let's get a big crew up there. There's a lot to do.
Yeah, your dad told me, OJ, your dad told me there's a spot out there that nobody really knows about where you just catch tons of trout, man. That's where I want to go.
Yeah, I know where he's talking. I'll show you. There's fishing, hunting, ATVing. There's and actually they're trying to make it like the mountain biking hub of like the East Coast now. They're really pushing for the downhill mountain biking. So all summer long, the chairlifts turn into mountain biking chairlifts, and everyone's doing. And they got these really cool ramps, like loop-de-loos. You come down, it's a blast, dude. And they have a whole cross-country thing set up, miles and miles of cross-country of trails set up. So if you're at all interested in mountain biking, that's the spot to go for that too.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll check that out. All right, well, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up here, guys. I appreciate you guys' time. OJ, thanks again. And for myself, Pete Garcia, and for my esteemed co-host Boone Takei, this is the history of the W. Again, thanks, OJ, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, fella.
All right, thanks, OJ. Thanks, Pete. Good night, everybody.